And Lee Shackelford and I wrote every one of the episodes.
Well, then I'm sorry about any what may sound like accusational tones and stuff like this. Because, you know what I mean? Of why that would look like that. And I know this might sound a little nuts, sir.
No, it doesn't, because I have a possible answer. Let me, again, give you the three possibilities with this.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we filmed this in a Masonic Lodge. Old Masonic Lodge built in the 1800s, okay? It was a very weird place, and that's why we filmed there. I have always had strong feelings that these Masonic Lodges knew something and were passing on something, down through time that we needed to know.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Our technology could be just a lot smarter than we think it is.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And it might not be extraterrestrials at all. And I think one's got to keep an open mind and realize that
The Martian Revelator
could be using that our technology for years.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Well, you're not a Freemason or nothing, though.
No. But I'm not a Freemason, but I'm relatively inexpensive. My day starts at 3:30 in the morning, and I'm never tired of it. To this day, I get up at 3:30 every morning. And obviously, I'm still talking to you this minute at night.
But we were designing the show so that everything would cut to the script. From the beginning was this idea, I think this is Chuck's idea, that there should be a sort of a room, sort of a treasure room
Of intelligence.
where this guy
The Martian Revelator
can walk through and he can pick things up.
of intelligence.
Down through time.
What they've done is they've filled this room with this random collection of, space junk. And some of it is very convincing, and it seems to be taken seriously. I noticed, looking at Chuck's biography online here, Internet Movie Database, that I've been seeing in the stores a video called Breaking the Da Vinci Code, and he's the supervising producer of that.
Oh, no kidding.
So I'm glad to see he's back in the business.
Codes.
Exactly, yes. But you put your finger right on it. Those are the things that have always interested him. What's going on behind the surface of the things that we can see? Those are the stories that he's always been interested in telling. And so UFO Diaries was a real natural. Well, who caught this? I'm thinking about how many people working on the show look at these pictures.
I did. It seems to be I'm the only one.
Yeah.
And hey, all these years later, all the power, right?
Yeah. But that's But I think that's something to be proud of. That's a keen eye. What you've got here are screen grabs.
Yes.
From the video, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Because the quality is actually it's much better than I would have thought. So by the time I finally saw that one on tape, it was just unrecognizable. And I can only imagine, this is sort of, the part that I'm not really proud of. I'm looking at a screen grab here, one of the Face on Mars, mysterious pictures that you sent me by email.
Right.
And that's one of the scenes that I scripted. But I remember that when they finally did it in production, you can tell watching it, they're largely improvising that dialogue. They've got the gist of what was supposed to be in the script, but
improvising the dialogue, huh?
The planet Mars is next to our own, the fourth world counting out from the sun. Surely no intelligent life could survive there.
It's not that anybody decided, let's make it look like this. I think it's just sort of how it ended up looking. You know what I mean? And it just seemed to me we had suddenly gone down with a bump from being a show that was trying to be very professional to being something really amateur. And I know Chuck must have been heartbroken about that too, because, it's something he was putting a lot of his own resources into. And everybody else involved there was too. But we just always knew that the show was going to have to be done very much on the cheap. And that the whole idea was to put this together as quickly and as cleanly and as smartly as we could.
Our technology could be just a lot smarter than we think it is.
And as I was telling you the other day, but the big thing that was supposed to happen with Cydonia was we were supposed to have Dr. Hoagland.
Really?
And this show had really been scripted around it. We were going to have Dr. Hoagland taking us through all of his Face on Mars, mysterious pictures
Of intelligence.
Theories and thoughts and discoveries and ideas about Cydonia. And then suddenly we didn't have that anymore.
Well, maybe if he read the script that it was already written for him to say whatever, maybe he said, oh, forget it.
If that was what his problem was and why he didn't want to do the interview.
Well, I don't know.
And he was the only one, but
his memory needs to be refreshed too. He doesn't remember any of this.
UFO Diaries. That was the name of the special.
And I don't think the show was supposed to be anything but respectful to his
UFO Diaries.
Face on Mars, mysterious pictures, views.
Of intelligence.
Right.
Then we would get, Dr. Hoagland, and Dr. Hoagland would sit in front of a camera, and Dr. Hoagland would say, we would hope, Dr. Hoagland would answer questions, and Dr. Hoagland would say something that was like what we'd written for it. Dr. Hoagland, based on things Dr. Hoagland written, this is all coming from Dr. Hoagland literature anyway, so we're not asking Dr. Hoagland to say anything in theory again. That Dr. Hoagland would disagree with, because we're putting their own words back in their mouth. So this has been going on for a while. But I am thinking somebody in production knows what happened to all those photos. Just because I saw how they were putting them up. They were, literally, they're getting, hey, you guys who are over there
of intelligence,
sweeping the floor
in a Masonic lodge.
Come over here and help us stick some of these pictures up. It's literally like that.
Wow.
I remember I was there, and we'd go, no, Joe, we've already seen that. What else you got? Throw this up, throw that up. Pull this big thing over here. Go see what this lodge has that we can add to make it look weirder.
So, that's really what happened. That's why the episode that you see is the way it is, because suddenly there was this script with these big holes in it, all these things that Dr. Hoagland was supposed to say. We kept getting Dr. Hoagland in front of the camera, and Dr. Hoagland, for whatever reason, Dr. Hoagland wouldn't say what we'd scripted for them. Dr. Hoagland, Mrs. Patterson here sitting at the desk looking at these face on Mars, mysterious pictures, photographs, and trying to say, what if,
Yes.
And those are quotes that were written to be said by Dr. Hoagland, and, without our voice of authority there.
American authorities are sabotaging efforts to discover the truth.
They had to invent a character who's guessing.
Right.
the Martian Revelator.
System initialized.
What a mess. All that she had was things that I had gotten from Dr. Hoagland's books
of intelligence
that I had tried to organize into some kind of a dramatic form in the script.
Right.
And they're just winging it.
Is there any way maybe I can get copies of these images that were used, or am I being out of my bounds of, I don't mean disrespect?
No, I think these are in the crate somewhere right next to the Ark of the Covenant.
Pull this big thing over here.
But what I'm saying is that if in a company like that,
our team of intelligence
in a Masonic lodge,
if you throw something out
of intelligence,
you need permission,
Right.
So if somebody said, look, I got all these photos, what do you want me to do with it? Somebody made a decision about what was going to happen to it.
Pull this big thing over here.
Okay, now here's the thing. What you got from Richard Hoagland's books?
Right.
Accessing data. Accessing data. Accessing data.
Now, what about that picture she's holding? That did not come from Richard Hoagland.
Really?
Really? Hey, look at it closely, my friend.
Well,
I know it goes back a long way, but I don't know where that came from. Richard does not know where that came from. No one knows where that came from.
That's why the episode that you see is the way it is, because suddenly there was this face on Mars, mysterious pictures. There was the script with these big holes in it.
The surface of Mars, we now know, is covered with meteor craters.
All these things that Dr. Hoagland was supposed to say.
In the region designated as Sidonia.
So now the guys at the studio
in a Masonic lodge,
we're now scrambling to try to find ways to cover the same material just so the show would cut together, just so the things that had already been shot would connect to each other.
Because there's hundreds of people now interested in knowing. And this is the thing. It's a lot of it is writing on you, but I respect anything that which you saw. I'm pleading on the behalf of the listeners of this show as well as to the research overall, and especially on the premise of Richard Hoagland being appreciative of anything that you could do, and he definitely wants to follow up with this, and we take it further, take it wherever it goes.
Well, I'm going to do what I can to find out what these pictures are and where they came from. I wish I could give you some hope of really good results, but I am going to do what I can.
I appreciate that. We all do, especially to which Richard Hoagland, it would be a big help to him too, because he is interested in knowing more about these images too, and he wishes that he could join us tonight, but pressing matters were at hand.
Well, you said the magic words there.
Pressing matters were at hand.
Well, you said the magic words there, because like I said before, I always feel like I owe him something.
Oh, well...
And more to the point, you just got my curiosity, because after they shot those scenes with the wall of the host set, those pictures would have all been taken down and immediately gone back in a box. And my question is, what happened to the box?
Right.
And there's somebody Who knows that?
Right, or
It's not me, but
right, or someone else who would know who all the images came from, at least the NASA images. But hey, it's not forgotten. You know, I mean, years later, at least it's picked out now, and who knows? Maybe now is, like you said, we're more in the right frame of mindset to where we can deal with these issues.
Well, that's true. So. Or did somebody say, well, who knows, maybe someday we'll use this again for something, and did it end up in somebody's basement? And if so, who?
Yes, exactly, because we are obviously faced with the problem. And for the benefit of all science and this Mars research altogether, it definitely ups the ante to the questions presented in that video about Cydonia that you thought what could have been done so much better. Well, this may be the opportunity.
Wouldn't that be ironic?
And Richard Hoagland's willing. I already got that okay from him too, by the way.
And some of these people have really been saying, one of these days I'm going to get back in touch with so and so. So maybe this is my excuse to do it.
Yes, it would be. I could see that in you. And I don't think anyone would belittle you for that, except for
Dr. Hoagland.
A friend of mine,
The Martian Revelator,
who became a friend of mine in subsequent years, and who sent me a very nice letter
of intelligence,
acknowledging that there finally, from his point of view, may be something in the
UFO diaries.
Mars data after all.
In the region designated as Cydonia.
And I've now got his curiosity.
Yeah.
Or it could be another token, my friend, a Trojan horse. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this...
And that gets into, satanic kind of things.
That's what,
the Trojan horse, which side of the force gave it to us.
Exactly, I don't know.
Dr. Hoagland
has the good answers for how many years we've been using
UFO diaries.
Horse and buggy, then all of a sudden a jumping
Martian revelation.
Mysterious pictures.
Industry, someone learned how to do an internal combustion engine and to put wheels to it anyway. I mean, these things have been around, but probably for the extreme rich around the places. But with no roads, what much could they do? So progress, took off once. Industry saw a potential in it. So that's here we are seeing this technology today. There's a lot of potential in that technology. And now that escalated another final point to what is yet to come, which is...
Yeah, the point is, and I think the reason we're talking tonight is that we live in very, very interesting times. It's more interesting than probably any other time in history.
You're definitely correct there. If you are a believer, anyway, think about it.
The point is, they're capturing the attention of the whole world, and years ago, documents were written that said this would occur and that they would capture the attention of the whole world.
And this document, which was written some 30 years ago, discusses the possible discovery at some point in the future of artifacts by unmanned NASA probes.
Dr. Hoagland,
a member of our team of intelligence.
Then it discusses how might such information, under what circumstances,
UFO diaries.
Face on Mars, mysterious pictures,
be presented to or withheld from the public. Of this, is some facet of this still in operation, and is it the reason why NASA has not taken the detailed studies of myself and my colleagues seriously for up to 17 years on the question of artifacts on Mars, which this document predicted someday might be found?
That's pretty phenomenal stuff.
That's a lot of broken glass.
Right. You obviously have helped people become aware of that. Then the powers that be, they would follow and try. So is the times we are in now a part of that original scene, or has it shifted by things that have been trying to be done to stop that from happening? And maybe, well, you see where I'm going here.
I got to tell you, my personal belief is that everything is going to go down as written.
There are people who say yes, there are people who say no. It really ultimately, science depends on the experiments and the documents. Farrell has unearthed some documents, but even those documents, when it comes to the actual technologies that they were involved in, these really cutting-edge technologies, are very ambiguous. They can be interpreted in several ways. Now, I think in part it's because the good stuff has not been released yet, or it hasn't even been found yet.
Right.
There are mysterious deaths associated with some of this
Martian revelation.
UFO diaries.
Mysterious pictures.
Documentation. For instance,
Chuck Selye
died suddenly mysteriously. Apparently
The Martian Revelator.
he was heading to
Chuck Selye
for the last 4 years to find in mines these buried documents from these secret black ops Nazi high-tech projects.
Of intelligence.
UFO diaries.
So is the idea maybe
The Martian Revelator.
found the documents and then
Chuck Selye
was killed?
Or he didn't find them.
Chuck Selye
He was killed because he was looking, he wasn't going to give up.
We're on a mission from God.